What's happening to the price of Bitcoin? Is the Bitcoin party over? Are we going to have a very huge move, especially to the downside? Are we going to experience a very huge capitulation phase, which is going to really wipe out a whole lot of people and make them broke? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I go by the name of Muna, and today we are going to continue talking about the price of Bitcoin. So yesterday we did talk about the probability of Bitcoin reaching $6,000 provided it crosses this cluster of resistance. Right now it seems we are losing momentum. As you guys can clearly see, the resistance strength index has been maxed out, and we are probably going to drop a little bit further down in order for us to go back and gather a little bit of momentum. If we switch to the 1 week chart, right, you guys are going to be able to easily identify the fact that we are almost running out of gas. If we had to go a little bit further, if we had to increase in price a little bit further, right, we don't really have a lot of strength left. We are most likely going to max out right around this area, right? So I don't really expect an explosive move to the upside, because remember, we are dealing with trading bots. A lot of these cryptocurrency exchanges are using trading bots, and these trading bots use specific trading indicators in order for them to, like, you know, bump up the price a little bit higher or a little bit lower. So right now, one of the best indicators that a lot of these trading bots use is obviously the resistance strength index, and right now we are maxed out. And if we look at the history, right, like every time we have a very high RSI value, right, we usually correct. So in case we are going to end up going a little bit higher, right, don't really expect a very explosive move to the upside, because I mean, we are literally almost at the top of the RSI index value right around this area. So let's just go back to the 4 hourly chart, right? As you guys can clearly see, we are losing momentum, and what's really going to happen is obviously we are going to make some sort of Bart Simpson type of formation to the downside. That is most likely bound to happen, because we have to gather back, we have to gain back a little bit of momentum by obviously dropping down a few price points below the current price point right around this area. A lot of people might argue that maybe we are about to make some sort of ascending triangle, which is obviously a very bullish scenario. So in case that happens, right, we are obviously going to end up going a little bit higher. But just like I told you, don't really expect the price of Bitcoin to be explosive. But in case we end up doing extremely well, right, we are most likely bound to face a lot of resistance right around this area. This is where we are obviously going to finish our upward momentum right around that area. But provided we end up crashing this value right around this area, right, this is where short squeeze is going to happen. This is where a lot of people are going to be buying back, because this is just how FOMO is created, and this is why the price of Bitcoin is going to go further above this current price level, and we're just going to end up overall doing extremely well. So it just really depends how the whole entire scenario is going to work. If we look at other different indicators, for example, if we check out the VC depth, this just like literally just shows you the amount of buying and selling power across the whole entire cryptocurrency exchanges. If we look at the nearest 5% price point when it comes to large cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, right, there's obviously way much more selling power as compared to the buying power. So whenever we have like such a contrast, right, obviously expect the side which has got a lot of power when it comes to either selling or buying power to obviously prevail. So in this particular case, right, obviously Bitcoin has got much more selling power as opposed to the buying power. So we are obviously going to be pushed further downwards. But the most interesting thing that I really wanted you guys to like notice is the buying power when it comes to Ethereum. Look at the buying pressure as opposed to the selling pressure. The selling pressure of Ethereum is about $24.5 million as opposed to the selling pressure, which is only about $16.4 million. So obviously Ethereum has got a lot of upward momentum, because there's obviously more buyers as opposed to the sellers. Now we obviously know the fact that we are going to have a hard fork, which is going to happen on the 20th of February. So this is obviously one of the reasons why Ethereum is obviously having all this attention towards it. But when it comes to Bitcoin, we are obviously experiencing way much more selling pressure. When it comes to Ripple as well, we don't really have like a huge discrepancy between the buying pressure and the selling pressure, as you guys can clearly see right around this area. So overall, when it comes to the top 10 alternative cryptocurrencies out there, Ethereum is obviously bound to do extremely well, and we are most likely going to see the whole entire cryptocurrency market being led by Ethereum, because there's obviously more buying power as opposed to the selling power as well. So let's just look at the 15% price difference and see what's happening. So if you check out the 15% price differences, right, we are obviously experiencing exactly more buying pressure as opposed to the selling pressure when it comes to Ethereum. If you check out Bitcoin, right, you can see that there's obviously much more selling pressure when it comes to Bitcoin right around this area. So this is one of the reasons why I really think that we are most likely about to experience a mini dump when it comes to Bitcoin. And you guys remember that whenever we have some sort of correction when it comes to BTC, right, a lot of alternative cryptocurrencies tend to follow suit as well. So I wouldn't be very shocked if we had to experience some sort of pullback a little bit. So in case we end up doing that, right, I really expect us to find some substantial support like right around this area, because this is where we were facing a whole lot of support right around this price point. So in case we end up cracking this area, right, then expect this price point to hold, but most likely we're just going to end up finding support right around this area. Then we're going to continue moving upwards. That's just how the cookie crumbles. The other point that I wanted to bring to your attention is due to the fact that when we were having this falling wedge, let me just draw it real quick for you guys. It's not really perfect, but you guys obviously get the idea, right? When we experienced this falling wedge, we had some very bullish momentum right around this area. Then we ended up making something which is very similar to a bull flag, but I wouldn't call it a bull flag because it took way too long, and I would just call it a channel. We ended up finding support right around this area, and we ended up consolidating, and then we ended up finishing this move. So if you guys had to be very, very skeptical about this whole thing, right, this whole situation that we're having is really a completion of this upward momentum that we had, because you guys remember that whenever we have a bull flag, right, we obviously end up finishing the continuation move right around this area. This is why we had this explosive move up. So in case we end up forming a symmetrical triangle right around this area, right, eventually we're going to end up being in this price point, right? A symmetrical triangle is a very neutral indicator, so we might end up going either upwards or downwards. Now that really sounds so cliche, but please bear with me, because bullish indicators, like for example having a bullish flag, is just a continuation pattern. So this is one of the reasons why we are in a very polarizing situation right now. But I don't know, things can either go either way, but a lot of technical indicators, for example the RSI, just keeps on telling us that we are most likely going to go down just to gather a little bit of momentum. But in case we end up going up a little bit higher, best believe that we're going to end up topping just a little bit further above this current price point, most likely right around this area where we experience a lot of resistance. So anything which is going to be below $4,500 is going to be a very good target, because just like I told you guys, just like I showed you, we don't really have much left when it comes to the RSI, especially if you check out the 1 week chart, because we are almost hitting the roof when it comes to the RSI. So that's just how everything goes. So let's just look at the Bollinger Bands, because I really believe Bollinger Bands are very, very helpful as well. So judging from the Bollinger major bands, we are way above the bands and we are outside of this area. So most likely we are about to experience a correction. So this is one of the reasons why I am leaning towards a downward momentum right now. But just like I told you, in case we go up, we're not really going to have enough gas to break through all this cluster of resistance. So I really hope you guys understand the gist of what I'm saying. So I hope you guys got a little bit of information from this quick analysis when it comes to Bitcoin. The other thing that I really wanted to bring to your attention is I would really love us to have a very ferocious move to the upside. Like for example, let me just remove these bands. If we go back way to this area right around this level, right, we obviously experienced days after days of ferocious explosive movements to the upside. So this is the type of action that I really want, and we are most likely not really going to get this amount of action due to the fact that we have a very overexposed RSI. So this is not really most likely going to happen because the trading bots are pretty much maxed out right now. So this is highly unlikely to occur. But in case we really need to break this cluster of resistance, right, this is the most significant move action that we really need to have. We really need to have this intensive price crashing of higher highs and all that stuff. So this is what I'm really looking forward to. So this is going to be very ideal. And if you check out this price action right around this area, this only took literally about 4 days in order for this thing to happen. So right now we are just wasting time. We are just sitting and pretty much running out of juice, out of gas, and it's not really going to do anybody any good. So I don't know, we are most likely going to go back and find some support a little bit lower, then just have these ferocious movements to the upside. So that's really going to be the most ideal scenario in order for us to crash this amount of resistance. And remember, we need to have something which is going to be like a short squeeze where a lot of people are going to end up buying back Bitcoin, and then it's just going to keep on being explosive and just going all the way to the upside. So that's going to be the most ideal scenario. So that's all I have for you. Remember, it's your boy Muna. If you guys really love this video, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and please show me some love. In case you've got any other contributions, any other suggestions, you can drop everything. So let's just keep the conversation going in the comment section below. So yeah, I hope you guys are going to have a great time trading cryptocurrencies, and be blessed, stay good, take care, and have a great day trading. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit later, and hasta la vista.
Yeah, me done talking. Yeah, me does them gun barking you. Yeah, me done talking. Yeah, me does them gun barking you. Yeah, me done talking. Yeah, me does.